Hello beautiful people, and welcome back to my channel. I'm so excited that you're here and very excited to be sharing today's video. Now, if you watched my video from last week, you already knew what today's video was going to be about. So it shouldn't come as a surprise that this week I'm sharing 3 delicious, healthy, and easy plant-based breakfast recipes for you to try. They are also packed with nutrients and easy to find ingredients. We have a high protein mango chia seed pudding. I also made some veggie loaded chickpea pancakes. And last but certainly not least, I actually finished all these sandwiches already because that's how delicious they were. I'm sharing a vegan sausage and egg breakfast sandwich. This mango chia seed pudding, this is seriously next level, and I will be bold enough to say it's probably gonna be the best chia seed pudding that you've tried. I'm saying it. But anyway, let's go ahead and get into this video. If you've been looking for ways to add more veggies to your breakfast, this first one is for you. We are making some veggie loaded chickpea pancakes, which I always enjoy making, especially when I want something that's savory and I need a creative way to use up some veggies that are in the fridge. For this batch of pancakes, I used green onions, asparagus, cherry tomatoes, red onions, and mushrooms. And the great thing about this recipe is that you can use just about any vegetable that you have. They don't have to be the exact ones that I'm using. I've made these with kale, bell peppers, shredded zucchini, shredded Brussels sprouts, so just have fun with it. And while the veggies are cooking, go ahead and start on the pancake batter. I go in with 2 cups of chickpea flour, a little under 1/4 cup of nutritional yeast, 2 teaspoons of baking powder, 1 teaspoon of garlic powder, 1 teaspoon of onion powder, half a teaspoon of smoked paprika, and salt and black pepper. Whisk that together and then start to add some sort of liquid. I would recommend either water, milk, or vegetable broth. I actually use organic soy milk just to add some additional protein to these pancakes. All in all, I used a little over 2 cups of the milk, but feel free to use more or less depending on how thick or thin you like these pancakes. Once everything is combined, go ahead and add in those cooked veggies and give this a stir just before adding it to a greased skillet. I like to let the batter sit for about 2 to 3 minutes and then flip it over, and when you do, it should be golden like this. These always turn out so delicious. In total, this recipe can make anywhere from 6 to 8 pancakes, give or take. It just depends on how large or how small you want to make them. But these are such a great prep ahead breakfast. I typically will make a batch, keep it in the fridge, and enjoy it throughout the week. But if you do plan to make these and you need to freeze them, I did add some reheating tips in the description box, so please check it out. And I haven't mentioned this yet, but traditionally these pancakes are called chilla, and they're enjoyed with a chutney sauce. However, lately I've just been enjoying them with a combination of dairy-free yogurt and an Indian garlic achar sauce, which has ingredients like garlic, lemon juice, and spices. But these are also good with a hummus, a pesto sauce, cashew cream, or even just plain non-dairy yogurt. I also like to top these with some microgreens and roasted red bell peppers. So if you're one of my friends out there who have been needing to add more vegetables to your meals or even just to breakfast, please give these pancakes a try. Next up is the breakfast that I ate almost every single day in my video from last week. These are my plant-based sausage and egg breakfast sandwiches. And the egg patty that we're using is actually a tofu egg patty, and it gets all of its flavor from this seasoning blend. It has nutritional yeast, smoked paprika, curry powder, turmeric for color, onion powder, garlic powder, and black pepper. There is one more ingredient that helps bring this blend together, but I like to add it at the end. I like to keep a container of this prepared and in my spice drawer because I use it quite a bit whenever I make tofu scrambles or these egg patties. So that was the seasoning, and now we need to make the marinade, which I just take some of that seasoning blend and I add it to dairy-free milk, and this is our egg-inspired marinade. And as I mentioned, I'm using tofu for my egg substitute. This is firm tofu, by the way, and I did not freeze it. I don't think that's a necessary step for the tofu egg patties or for tofu scrambles. I sliced the tofu in about 1/4 inch thick pieces, and then I add the marinade to it, and I just let that marinate for about 30 minutes to really absorb that marinade and so that it really seeps into the tofu. I'll either cook these patties on the stove top or I'll place them in the oven. If I have things to do around the house, I have something for work that I need to do, or maybe I'm prepping another meal at the same time, the oven is typically my go-to, and when that is the case, I bake them on 400 degrees for around 20 to 30 minutes, flipping halfway through. I really just look for the tofu to have absorbed most of, if not all, of the marinade. And if you plan to add plant-based sausage or bacon, go ahead and use this time to cook it up. I'm using my plant-based breakfast sausage. I do have a video and a recipe for these that I'll link in the description box, but I've also made this exact same sandwich with tempeh bacon, so you could try that too if you like. Once the tofu is done in the oven, I sprinkle each patty with kalonamic. This is also known as black salt, and it'll add a nice eggy flavor to the patties. I like to just save this for the end because it just really helps to make that flavor pop more when I go to enjoy these sandwiches. And the last thing to do is just to assemble them. I'm using English muffins that we picked up from our local farmers market, but you could also do these with biscuits or whatever type of bread you like. I also added down some vegan cheese, which is completely optional, and I'll have some brands that I recommend in the description box in case you also want to add the vegan cheese. And these freeze really well in the freezer. Just be sure to wrap them in parchment paper so you can easily remove them, and when you're ready to enjoy, just pop them in the microwave for about 1.5 to 2 minutes and dress it up with your go-to breakfast sandwich toppings. I use chia seed jam and microgreens. I just about ate this sandwich every single day because it is that good, so I hope you give them a try. All right, I know I made a pretty bold claim for this mango chia seed pudding, but I stand behind it. So if that doesn't make you want to try this, I don't know what will. And because this is a mango chia seed pudding, we're going to start out by dicing some mangoes. And you can either use regular mangoes or champagne mangoes. I've made this with both and they are equally delicious. For this specific recipe, I switched between using 1/3 cup of organic canned light coconut milk or 1/3 cup of organic soy milk when I truly want to make a protein-packed chia seed pudding. Then I go in with a mango-flavored high-protein dairy-free yogurt. If you watch my March favorites roundup video, I shared the brand of high-protein dairy-free yogurt I've been enjoying, and I'll link that video in the description box, but any brand of yogurt that you enjoy will work. For 1 serving of chia seed pudding, if I'm adding a dairy-free yogurt, I use 2 tablespoons of chia seeds, and then for a little extra flavor, I add a splash of vanilla extract. And if you've made chia seed pudding before, you know that you have to let it sit for like 5 minutes and then whisk it together again. I found that you don't have to do that when you add a yogurt, so it just makes this flow a little bit quicker. And then lastly, I add in the mangoes. And I know that chia seed pudding is considered one of those quick and easy breakfast meals that you can put together. And don't get me wrong, it is very quick and it is very easy. However, the longer you let this sit in the fridge, the better. The flavors just meld together and the pudding is more firm, which is how I like this recipe. But since I was filming, I did just let this sit in the fridge for about 30 minutes or so before topping it with some granola and more diced mangoes. I'm telling y'all, you have to try this out. Thank you so much for watching this video. I truly hope that you enjoyed it, and I hope that these recipes showed you that plant-based eating can be healthy and still delicious. Don't forget to check the description box for links to the recipes, the brands that I used, as well as links to my kitchenware and cookware. If you're new here, please introduce yourself because I would love to say hello. And if you've been here, I truly appreciate you. I will see y'all in next week's video. Bye.